Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Freestyle Friday right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you all today? How are you, experts?
Excellent.
How you doing? We did a lot of talking backstage, y'all, before we even came on live. So we've already had our own show, right? With you all getting to know each other. Listen, I am super excited to be here today on this Freestyle Friday. I'm Kim Jacobs, your host, the Balance Doctor is who I'm known as. And actually, we're bringing balance to this world, one household at a time, right by having you all be in the virtual studio audience and be active participants to be able to communicate and share things that's on your heart on this Freestyle Friday as well. So we have had a lot going on, and it's just been a lot happening, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how you face it, it's hard to grasp everything, because sometimes when we're looking at all of the news and the different things that's happening, which I am a big believer that the news media personalities are only sharing the real news. So people are like sometimes saying things like, "Oh, you know, don't listen to the media. Don't do what? They're only sharing what's really happening in the world, right?"
Absolutely.
Maybe we should have a different philosophy of let's not let all of this bad stuff happen in the world for the media to have to actually report on it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Thoughts? Anybody? Just let's, as people are grabbing their virtual seats, we just having some conversation.
Well, for me, it's two ends of the coin, right? We have the politically correct news entities that's only going to share from a certain perspective. And then we have the other news entities that's going to really tell you what's going on, that's not going to be seen in mainstream media. So for once to get a broad perspective of what's going on, they need to look at both and then make their opinion based upon gathering all the information and then making their decision on what they're going to believe, what they're not going to believe, how they're going to help, how can we solve this, what we're going to do that, and this and that. So I watch mainstream, and also I watch what they call grassroots news from individuals like ourselves that are commentators, that journalists that gather information from the community voices perspective. And that's when you hear more of what the heart of what's really going on that is not washed over, I would say, because of all the political stuff that goes on in the back end.
That's good feedback. Anybody in the virtual studio audience, as we have any discussion on Freestyle Friday, make sure you all put your comments and your thoughts. I've had an incident recently where I brought someone on camera, and I usually let people just come on. And I've had some interesting characters come on screen. So guess what? We're going to let you just put your comments over in the comment section, and we'll just read them. How about that? We'll read those. So I guess when people say one bad seed can spoil the whole apple, it really can sometimes.
That's exactly right. Right.
Unfortunately. Anybody else have any thoughts on all of the stuff that's just happening?
I find that the news world gravitate to the negativity of stuff more than those positive things that are going on. If you look at the news, they get more media attention when they do the negative than the positive. So we very rarely see what the good is going on out there, and we see the negative. And so this our job as the people to try to put all the positive spin on things that we need to do, so they see both sides of the spectrum and decide what they want to do. So that's what I think.
Sunshine expert, you have anything you want to chime in on?
Yeah, let's talk about this media thing. You know what? Because it's so much, like Dr. Clarke said, it's so much negativity that goes on. Maybe people in my generation, or maybe this new generation, you know, we might say, hey, it's too much negativity. And again, I'm just going to speak for me. So much negativity, so I shied away from the news. You know, it's like, why watch the news when every time you turn on the news, it's always something bad going on, or you always see some baby dying. And now I'm sitting there crying and praying in the name of Jesus because somebody has lost a child. So that was my mindset. But then I had to my mindset and, you know, bring positivity, but also I do need to know what's going on in the world. Because, you know, if you're at work with your colleagues, or, you know, my mom and dad, they watch the news, you know, somebody's going to see the news and share some information with you. And so, you know, huh, I'm missing out on some information when I hear stuff. It's like, oh, did you see no, I didn't see the news today, but you can tell me what happened. And, you know, if I need to go back and pull it up and watch it, you know, I will. So I would just say, you know, yes, it's not a lot of positivity that come to the forefront. We rarely see anybody, you know, anybody that's being blessed, anybody out there in the community that's doing work, you know, or certain things in the community that's getting recognized, you know. So I do check the news now. I just want to say that that's my disclaimer now, is that I do check the news every so often. I chime in to see what's going on. And again, you know, I'm a prayer warrior. So, you know, I'm always on the battlefield for praying. So, you know, now with the negative stuff, it's just, you know, Lord, cover them, or the situation, God, is in your hands, and keep it moving, and not trying to totally disconnect from that part of the world. And just trying to stay abreast, you know, because again, like Dr. Tina said, you know, you got the political, and then you got the other news that's bringing the other good stuff, that is sharing other things of the world that we need to pay attention to as well, and just be in the know, and move forward from there. So that's my take.
That's some good, y'all offering some good insight from individual perspectives. My perspective is that, again, the media, when what they're doing is they're reporting on what's there to be reported about. So in all fair balance, I feel like I watch many different news programs that always put in some type of like, hey, here's something positive that's happening, that's going on, that we want to make sure you're aware of, and a nice feel good kind of story type of situation. So I've had scenarios where I saw somebody pulling in, and I was trying to, I'm trying to focus and look at the person. I'm like, I can't do both. Talk and chew bubble gum at the same time, right? Anyway, I've seen some really good feel good stories, and like highlighting ordinary people that are doing heroic things. So a lot of programs out there do try to provide some fair balance, but again, the majority of the information to share is, a lot of it is negative, unfortunately. So we just need to, in my personal opinion, change the trajectory of how things are happening in this world. Now, some things, let's talk about this. And everybody in the studio audience, please feel free to chime in. What are your thoughts about everything that's going on in the world as well? Let's see. I see you saying good morning, Athena. I see another person saying good morning. And so glad to have you all here in the studio audience. Listen, we have to pray for people, because there are so many natural disasters that are happening that's beyond our control. Stuff we can't control, the time, the weather, the day, some of the things that's happening, whether like the solar eclipse and stuff like that. We can't control those things. They're beyond our control. So I do encourage everyone to pray for those families, especially like right now, recently in Taiwan, the earthquake 7.4 on the Richter scale, if I'm not mistaken.
This morning before we come, this morning before we come on, we had a 4.8 earthquake here in Philadelphia.
And what was it? And Dr. Tina, you said in Taiwan?
It was over 8. And over here in South Carolina, we had one, I think it hit 3 point something or another. So it's happening more often in places that it's not commonly happening at. And so we can see now, for me, now I can't separate the two. For me, I understand what's going on because I am a Christian. So I'm just like, okay, this is just Jesus foretelling he already told us what's going to happen before he comes.
Right.
So I'm looking at it from that perspective. But of course, we may have viewers that don't look at it from that perspective. I'm just telling you what my perspective is. So when I see it and it's not common, I'm like, ooh, this is fulfilling Bible prophecy. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We need to get out there.
It's not like any major surprise because it's like
confirmation for me. When I see it happen, it's confirmation for me. So I'm like, ooh, okay, he didn't say this. This was written. Okay. So for me, that's how I look at it.
That's good. Good feedback. All right. So we have to keep those families in prayer no matter where they are around the world. I was looking at an article just a few seconds ago, and it was saying that as of today, now again, some of you may be watching this as a replay, so I always like to remind you that depending on what day you're watching this may be older news for you at that moment. But according to Reuters, it says here that 5 hours ago that it was a death toll of 12 at this point from the Taiwan earthquake. Rescuers face threats of landslides, rock falls, and all kinds of things are happening. And yeah, so just make sure, no matter where people are around the country as they're losing their lives, that we keep them and their families in prayer because these are real people, not statistics and just numbers. And the same with the collapse in Baltimore of the bridge in Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah, so there again, families that lost their lives, they were just there doing their daily routine of working early in the wee hours. So they were exactly where they were supposed to be. Not like they were out, doing something wrong. They're out doing their jobs. And here the barge crashes into the bridge and people lose their lives. So let's just keep all of these families and these unforeseen situations and circumstances in our prayers, okay? And okay, that's plenty of our talk about stuff that's going on right now around this world. It's a lot more happening because depending upon what you're interested in talking about, some people want to talk about celebrity news and how the raid that took place, I think, on P. Diddy's house. I don't know all of the details of all of this stuff. So sometimes when I'm talking, it sounds all stumbly because I'm definitely not the expert. I'm the balance doctor, y'all. All I'm telling you is how you can balance different aspects of your life. And if you want to have a show, a talk show of some sort, I can help you create that from scratch. So I stay in my wheel, in my lane. But anybody else that want to chime in on any of those topics, feel free or put some comments. Somebody said that they just had a 4.8.
Yes.
That's
Philly, where I'm at. Yeah, where I'm at.
Oh, yeah, that's your wife. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Randall said, I'm watching you, Kim. All right. Keep on watching, Randall. I don't know what that means, but let me tell you. You keep on watching.
How close you watching, Randall?
I don't know what that means. This statement is kind of real broad. I'm watching you, Kim. You can specify. I don't know if I want you to specify. I don't know what you got going on. All right, my mom is watching too, and she says, "Good morning, good morning." Hey, bestie, Athena Robertson.
Kenzie.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and kick off some of our topics for today. Just wanted to have some discussion that we could just wrap our heads around. But we have with us 3 of our Freestyle Friday experts. And Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, even though she is well-renowned and teaching podcasting world, and this woman is an author, a speaker, program. She has a program that helps us stream as podcast hosts in over 100 countries and over 350 million households. It's no joke, y'all, what Dr. Tina J. Ramsay brings to the table. But today she's going to be on as our homeschool expert because she has some other hats that she wears behind the scenes. I'm going to save her to squeeze her in the middle so that she's not the first one up. She's like, girl, don't be putting me first. And you know, it's my first time on Freestyle Friday. Okay. So
this your show. I fall in line, honey.
She's a natural at this. It's okay. She's a natural.
Athena, our sunshine expert. I'm going to go with you first today because you know how to bring the sunshine in the midst of all of this turmoil. all of the darkness that we experience across the land, we get a chance to have some sunshine right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So let's hear from Athena Robertson.
Well, you know what? Always got to be ready. Here I am, first up. It's your girl, the Sunshine Expert on Freestyle Friday. Always giving the honor to my sister Kim, who allows this beautiful platform for variety of Freestyle Friday's expert to come on and share great things that first come from our heart, things that we know, things that we might be educated or trained in. So it's always a pleasure. And then it's even more pleasure when you're amongst all these beautiful gems like Dr. Tina Ramsay, Dr. Clarke. And when I looked at the flyer last night, Dr. Clarke, that chandelier came up in my head, and I was like, yeah, I get to see Dr. Clarke
It's a long
today.
time ago.
It was a long time ago, my friend, and it's just that's just a memory, and that's my memory,
Right.
Anybody else who, if you watch the show, you got a chance to see the chandelier. If you missed it, you got to go back and get the replay. That means you got like a list of videos to go through on Kim's like to find it. But it was a joyful memory, and it was a very teachable moment because Dr. Clarke is the marriage Freestyle Friday expert. So while I'm over here waiting for my Boaz, I'm just
he has plenty to say about that. So
yeah, God is good, and I know He is. He's working up something big for me. And so today, I wanted to talk about. I know this is Autism Month, Awareness Month, and I like how we're all in sequence with the blue. I love it. I love Dr. Tina. Her background is just like. She is lighting up blue over there, like she is popping with the blue. So everybody is on this blue spectrum, which is great. And I just want to say, I have a nephew that has autism, and he's very unique. He's creative. He's lovable. And I think that, exploring this part of journey of life with him, and for the ones out there in the world that are going through, whether if you have a child or you have a relative or a friend or even a colleague, embrace it, love it. And when I say embrace it and love it, I mean, be open-minded, be open-hearted, because it's something new. And every day is something you can learn new. Every day is developing something new, especially with a child. And so, in this day and season, for me, because I'm always learning something new, do your research. And if you don't know, ask questions, because you might have some parents out there, you might have professionals out there that know a little bit more than you, and that's okay, because we're not going to know everything. You're not going to know everything. We don't have all the answers. So anything that don't think any question, you're afraid not to ask questions because you think it sounds silly. No, it sounds silly if you don't ask a question. How about that? It sounds silly if you don't ask a question, because you won't know until you ask a question and to get a better understanding. And the one thing about my nephew that I love is he's very big on texture, and he's very vocal. He's so bright, and he repeats. He's repetitive, so he'll let you know exactly how he feels. And if you're not attentive to answering him right away, he normally loops back around and say, "Hey, did you hear what I said?"
Right.
And he's 10, right? But it's like he could be like 45 in like a matter of seconds. It's like, hold up, okay, sir, Auntie heard you, I got you, I'm on it. And or just an interesting conversation. So again, it is always it's a blessing when we are knowledgeable. Let me say that it's a blessing when we are knowledgeable, whether it's self-education, meaning that you do your own research, or somebody else is teaching you, or you're following somebody else's lead. Because again, I don't have all the important facts of autism, but I do know, Dr. Tina might have it, Dr. Clarke might have it, Kim might have something more than what I have on my paper. And but what I did know is when I was learning of what the topic was today, it was like, oh, I can relate to that, because I actually have family in that area, and the things that I have experienced, and still experience when we visit each other and see each other, and just the uniqueness of it, and of course, with everything in life, with every challenge, it comes with the positive and the negative. And let's not focus on the negative. Let's focus on the positive. Not saying that you don't need to pay attention to the negative, because the negative could also be in tune to your learning and knowledgeable, but don't focus on that. Don't, and then let's not be judgmental. Let's not be judgmental. Let's give each other grace and mercy, right? Because, again, nobody's perfect, and each day, y'all know me, I'm a firm believer, God gives us grace. He gives us mercy like none other. He gives us a peace like none other. So at the end of the day, let's learn about it. Let's celebrate it, the same way. And again, April is a very important month, and it celebrates the whole month of April, just like if we were doing breast cancer awareness month. So, these different things that we learn about and that we come to knowledge about, let's learn, let's soak up the information, and then share. Let's not forget to share it, because you never know, somebody else might not know. So on that moment, that's my take on the blue day. I call it the blue day, and I wanted to make sure that I was in sequence. So yes, I got my blue on. I'm ready. Let's go. I'm gonna flip the script, and now let me tell you something. So what I got to say? This last week, we just come from Holy Week, Resurrection Sunday, and now for some of us, we're celebrating Holy Convocation. Listen, yes, all right. My colleagues is shaking their head at me, so I'm on point. So yes, we are we are celebrating it. So I had joined United Nations Church one day this week, as they started off their Holy Convocation, and a word that stuck out to me was building your foundation. And so I want to speak from that. I want to share some tips on that. And, always I just say this again, these are my opinions, my thoughts. Also, I do go into prayer, and I do ask God, what can I say to his beautiful people? Because it's not about Athena. It's about everybody else. So this is a selfless moment. So, I always want to stay obedient to the word. And so building your foundation, your foundation, my foundation is different from what Kim foundation is, from what Dr. Ramsay foundation is, or from what Dr. Clarke foundation is. Athena's foundation is Athena's foundation. It's a learning process when you are building your foundation. And some of the key factors that I wanted to touch on in building your foundation is make sure first and foremost, God will give us a vision. God will give us a dream. You're not going to get everything at once. And so while you're building your foundation, and while your foundation is being built, take time to pace yourself, and write out what that looked like for you. How many times, if we're doing something and we get distracted because Dr. Ramsay might be doing something, I feel she might be doing something more. Let me say that. Let me for an example. Oh, Dr. Ramsay over there building. She over there flying. Oh, I got to catch up with her. Well, while you're in the process of building your foundation, but because I got sidetracked because I'm over here on Dr. Ramsay team trying to catch up with her, I'm in the process, but my process pauses because I lost sight of what I was doing. And it can happen to any one of us. So there's not a right or wrong way, but the right way is not a right and wrong way. But the right way is to stay in your lane and stay focused on what you're doing. Because if I have not talked to Dr. Ramsay, it might have took Dr. Ramsay 2 years to get to where now she's at her peak. And what we see, she on a mountaintop, but if we think about it, she's at the mountaintop, but we was not with her when she was coming up the mountain to get to the mountaintop. So we don't know the ins and outs, Yes, she's smiling, she popping, everything fly about her. That is great. That is great. The glory of God. That's what we see. Love it. But when she was in the trenches, we might not have missed that because again, if I was staying in my lane and staying focused,
Right.
while she was coming up her mountain, getting it done, because I was staying focused, I missed that part of her getting to the mountaintop. So now my process is a little pause, and now I'm like, man, I was over here soaring, I was going.
Until you lost focus.
So I lost focus. You lost focus. So you want to stay focused on building your foundation. Stay focused. And in the process, I might have said it before, you want to make sure that you focus and trust the process because the progress is so much greater and so much worth it. And you see the fruit of what you've done, the fruit of your labor, because you stay focused in the process to get to the progress. So, and building your foundation, y'all, let me tell you now, you can look at it from different angles. Somebody might take what I say today and have a whole nother message about building your foundation. And listen, that is great because great minds think alike. Everybody different point of views, and what works for you works for you. I'm telling you what worked for me. And so I'm building this foundation, in between of that self-pacing yourself. Now, Dr. Ramsay, you can ask her, Dr. Ramsay, I seen you last week. You were focused. You was over there, so you were studying, and I seen you focus. Give me some tips, because key thing is you stand in your lane, and it's okay to get some motivation, some mentorship, some coaching tips that's going to keep you going on your journey. So you don't want to, let's not be distracted, but let's stay intact. Let's stay focused. But also you can get some tips because Dr. Ramsay, now she can teach me some things that I might not have knew that, now I'm soaring even a little greater. But let's not get caught up. Let's not compare.
That's right.
Let's not say, well, if I only did what Dr. Ramsay did, I get there. No. Because the strength, yes, and the qualities that Dr. Ramsay have, mine might be totally different. My strengths are different. My qualities are different. So what worked for her might not work for me. Right. So, that's just like, planting and watering your seeds and watch it blossom, watch it develop and grow. Everybody's process is different. So stay in your lane because only you are equipped to handle the life circumstances, the trials and tribulations, the blessings. Let's talk about not only focusing on the trials and tribulations, because in order for us to grow and to know, we have to be strengthened from what we go through. And and every storm is different, so I'm just giving you different analogies, about this building this foundation and keeping it solid and firm so that once the foundation is built, now you go to the next level. But that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Is that, hey, while you're building your foundation, take your time, be patient, learn more about you. While you're learning more about you, it's okay to be you. It's okay to explore, and definitely it is okay that you have people in your life that are coaches, mentorships, role models, leaders. To me, we're all leaders. We all have different qualities, and how we bring out our qualities and our leadership skills. That's on you, And again, for me, the things that God placed inside of me, it's amazing. It's different, And so, while God has blessed me with this platform and over here building and creating, I'm gonna continue to encourage and inspire everybody.
Thank you, Athena. Tell people how they can stay connected with you real quick.
Of course, absolutely. Stay connected with me on Facebook. As Athena Robertson, or if you go to Joyful Hearts Transitional Housing on Facebook, you can stay connected to me as well. Also on IG, you can stay connected to me. Red Honey is REDHONII, the number 7. That's on Instagram, or Joyful Hearts Transitional Housing. I am your mobile notary service here in the Mecklenburg County area. Express Notary. You can call me at 980-200-5740. We can link up and connect and make it happen.
All right, Athena, thank you so much for being one of our Freestyle Friday experts, our sunshine expert here, and dropping significant tips and knowledge. Listen, I do want to take a moment as we get ready to transition to you, Dr. Tina J. Ramsay. I want to take a moment to let you all know that one of my sons is at Joyful Hearts Transitional Housing. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram and email me and the information is there for you to email Athena Robertson. Now, my son Ivan Jacobs, he's an ambassador with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and helped raise him and his siblings, because they kicked cystic fibrosis in the head, but they raised over $2.2 million for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation last year. Well, he's been charged now with being an ambassador with the Boomer Esiason Foundation. And Ivan is very determined to help people with CF be able to get past the limitations. And many of you know that he also lost over 100 pounds himself. He went on his own personal weight loss journey. And as a result of that, with no surgery or anything, this has been what he's accomplished. And so he's right now been charged to raise $4,000 for the Boomer Esiason Foundation to help find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And there's a specific link that you can use to contribute to him being recognized as the person that's bringing these funds in. I would like for you all to see it's like a 30-second clip here of him, and then I'll put the link up here.
Hey, my name is Ivan, and I live with cystic fibrosis. I was diagnosed at 17 years old, and I had a hard time accepting the fact that this was my new normal. In a split second, I had pills I needed to take, treatments I had to do, and statistics that weren't favorable. So I decided to take CF head on. I became an ambassador and advocated for the disease. I took my treatments regularly, and I try to be an inspiration for my siblings. If you also live with cystic fibrosis, I know it can be hard, but what you're doing is also inspiring other people. I'd love to hear about some of your personal victories. Please share them below this video.
All right, and I'm only putting this up because the deadline is quickly approaching, so please make sure you all send some type of contribution. Doesn't matter how big or small. The goal for him to be able to raise $4,000 to be able to help find some type of cure for cystic fibrosis, which is a lung disease that builds up mucus in the inner linings of your lungs and pretty much help prevent you from being able to breathe properly. So, all right. So we are going to go to Dr. Tina J. Ramsay. And again, many of you may know her from the podcasting world because she is a podcasting powerhouse. But today she's going to be talking to us about homeschooling, and more specifically even about homeschooling if you're dealing with children that have autism. Let me just say, autism is a broad range of conditions that's characterized by challenges with social skills and repetitive behaviors of speech and all kinds of things that make up the range, the autism spectrum disorder, and the range and severity of the symptoms can vary very widely. And so today, with it being Autism Acceptance Month is what it is, Autism Acceptance Month, I wanted to just make sure we have one of our Freestyle Fridays devoted to talking about this subject. So let's talk. Dr. Tina J. Ramsay.
All right. For those of you who saying she's talking about homeschooling, because I usually separate the two. You mostly see me from the homeschooling side. So today, from the media side, but today I'm going to talk to you about something and I'm going to bring in the foundation, what Athena was talking about. Many of you don't know that my foundation has always been education. I've been in the education industry for 25 years. I'm a former public school educator. And when I was in the public school, I am what they call a behavior specialist. So I work with case managers in order to help children effectively work through their behavior issues, whether it was, why were they doing what they're doing? Okay. And how can I help them be able to articulate properly and productively their emotions and be able to reach the goals of education, personal development, and all the things that's in that arena. So setting a solid foundation with me beginning with education 25 plus years ago, it catapulted everything else that you see that I'm doing now in regards to the podcasting, because I wanted to create a healthy, safe place for people to be able to share their stories. So that's how the podcasting thing started. But in regards to homeschooling, I have always wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. That's why I actually went to school to be a special education or special needs education teacher. And I'm also certified as a special educator, special needs educator. Now, my expertise is autism. And I have worked with all different types of children with different types of developmental delays, as well as not just autism, but cerebral palsy, and the list goes on and on. And so what I have found that's very unique about any type of child that falls in the special needs category is that all of these children has something that is uniquely to them. They're gifted. They have an ability to be able to see life through a different lens that we do not see. But it's up to us to be able to figure out how we can help them tap into their full potential within their abilities, and also help them with the limitations that might hinder them from making it to their full potential. And for all these years, I helped so many parents, right, with their children. Knew all the textbooks, all the different things, all the experiences, right? And then I became a mother. I had my first child and then my baby. And around about when he got his 18-month-old shots, he had some type of reaction to the shots. And he went from being gifted and talented. He started babbling at 2 months old, talking. He started walking at 6 months. He got his 18-month-old shots. And then, and I want to say this right here, this is not the views and stuff expressed on the Kim Jacobs show. Mackenzie, pop that up. Okay, pop it up. This is just my
I popped it up this time.
This is just my personal experience. But my child went through a period of losing all the skills that he previously had. His eyes lost the light behind him. He stopped talking. He started walking on his tiptoes. He started screaming, hollering, hitting himself, all kinds of different things. And as a mother, with all the education, I had to figure out what was going on with my child. And then after going through different tests, different psychiatrists, they said that he fell in the Pettis novatum category, which is just a real textbook name to say autism, that you fall into the spectrum. And so with that being said, even though I had all this prior experience working with children with autism and developmental delays and special needs, I just want to be totally 100 honest with you. When my child got the diagnosis that he had autism, I had a problem with that. I was thinking, God, why my child? I dedicated my life to helping parents with children that has this, to be able to be a voice for the voiceless, but yet I did everything right. I did my prenatal vows. I ate right. I mean, why? And so I had to go on a faith walk with God to try to figure out, or not figure out, but understand the why. Because it's some things that a book can't teach you. That's right. I don't care if you're in the top, because I had a 4.0 GPA. I knew all the words. And I was very effective for what I did. But it wasn't until I had to personally handle having a child with developmental delay, with autism, with all the things that now I am on the other side of the table and I can really, really see it through a different lens. And I thank God for my son. And so you have a child that have autism. I want you to know, or have anything that falls into the special needs category. I want you to know that it is not something that is against you. It's not something that's taken away from you. It's actually adding on, because it's something that child is going to be able to bless himself, herself, your life, to be able to see life in a way that you have not priorly been able to see, because you did not have this experience. And from that experience, it's going to be able to take you to places to be able to help people that you formerly could not be able to help to the full capacity. So my child, I saw a reflection of myself, some things about me and how I learned. I didn't have any questions. I knew I had to do things unique, right, in certain different ways. And I saw, and I with God's help, he pushed me through. And so now all this got built, right? Now I'm able to educate. I'm being able to help from a different perspective, being able to get into the minds and hearts of our young people to let them see that they have somebody fighting for them, a mother who cares. Mm-hmm. I can be your mother, your auntie, your cousin, your friend, whatever, in order to get you from point A to point B. Because these babies are gifted. Yeah. They are gifted. And society has taught us if you are different, something's wrong with you. Right. Right. If you are different, you are broken. If you are different, you should be removed. If you're different, you don't belong. If you're different, you're not special. And I'm here to tell you today, and I'm getting emotional, because those babies are not only special, they're gifted and they're needed. Okay. And so if you're a mom or a dad or a grandparent that's taking care of your grandchildren, you're not alone. And God chose you for this assignment for a reason. But it's your charge. It's your assignment to figure out the why. And once you figure out why, then it's your responsibility to be a positive impact in the people's life that you're here on this earth to help. And through the lenses of my son, his name is Isaiah, because I wanted him to be like, God, send me, send me. And every day that he says something that is totally, like people say, it's left field, right? But then I think about it, I'm like, he's right. They told me that my child will never be able to read, my child will never be able to be social, that my child will never be able to get past a second grade mindset. They gave me a list of things that he will never be able to do. Now, I'm not saying it was always easy, because it wasn't. And that's one of the main reasons why I decided to homeschool. Other than he also had medical problems as well that made him medical sensitive. So it was just better for him to be at home versus being in an open environment with a lot of germs all the time. I'm not saying that was easy, but I am saying that there are more than one way to get things accomplished. And even though he could not learn how to read the traditional way with your vowels, the I, E, and U, but honey, he was able to learn through active movement, connected learning. I figured out that he learns from the right side of his brain versus the left side. Left side is with the people who are students. They can sit down and write and do this. But this child needed to move. We look at ADD and ADHD as something wrong with the child. No, they're training you on the way that they need to be taught and learn. And we need to adjust to the way that they learn. When I adjusted to the way my child learned and allow him to be able to teach me how to teach him, leading with what God wanted me to do, my child life changed, my life changed.
That's right.
That's how I'm able to help people with homeschooling consulting, being able to pull them into resources, being able to help them find curriculums that can help their child unique learning style, being able to just, in some cases, you need to build the curriculum out yourself. Okay. And so I teach people how to build curriculum. I also bring them into the community because over the years, I have co-founded a community of over 23,000 homeschooling parents worldwide, helping them with all the things. We have a magazine, we have a podcast, we have a TV show, we have, and I speak on not just what people say disability, I speak on the gifts that's surrounded by whatever that name and that diagnosis, okay? And so I use that as a platform in order to inspire the parents and the children to know that they're here for a reason, they have a gift, and no one can do it like a child that has a hindrance. When they realize who they are, woe for the earth. And I'm saying that in a positive way, because the other way, in Revelation, we be like, woe to the earth, we be getting scared. I'm talking about woe for the earth in a positive way, because these children, in my opinion, is here to be a teacher of us. But we just have to allow them to be able to do what they need to do, because their way of moving and maneuvering is so different from us that it opens us up in a different way. So as a mother, as an educator of a child with autism, this month It's very important to me. And this month is also, I want parents to know, yeah, you're going to have moments where you feel alone, you feel depressed, you feel scared, you don't understand where they're coming from. Be patient, build the foundation, and it will change. Give yourself grace. Give the child grace. Every day is not going to be a good day. Period. I don't care how much education or how much love you have. It's not going to be a good day every day. But you have to learn how to work through those days and use them as teachable moments. So I don't want to take up the rest of the time because this subject is near and dear to my heart. And Dr. Clarke, with what he speaks about, is a key to your child. Because if you are in a relationship, you have to have a solid relationship. The child has to see representation. They have to feel the love. A man needs to be represented in a child's life. A woman needs to be represented in a child's life. So he's going to take us on into what we got to do if we're in a relationship or maybe we're single. He's going to pull us into that relationship now. So I'm going to move on over. I talked about autism and all that. Y'all can find me on social media. I'm not hard to find. Just Google Dr. Athena Robertson. You'll see what you want to see, pick what you want, how you want me to help you. But we're going to move on in to how he's going to help us with these solid relationships, because the reason why we messed up and we can't do these children right because we messed up. So he's going to help us get ourselves together. So I don't know what the Dr. Clarke so he can get us with these relationships.
Well, I don't need to say anything after that. Dr. Colin Clarke, our Freestyle Friday expert dealing with marriage. Take it away.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I am here to tell you that when you have a special need child, it is a challenge for both the parents. It's a challenge, and it brings us an increased level of stress. It brings a challenge in communication. It brings a financial strain, because when you have special needs children, they call for more financial support. And so it can bring a stress on the relationship. But what I'm here to tell you, that you cannot leave God out of this equation. Because when you have this situation, only God can give you the grace. You need love, you need patience, and you need understanding in this situation. If you don't have it, then you're constantly going to be butting heads together. And everybody's affected in the special need. The child is affected, the father and the mother is affected. So everybody needs the support in this relationship. So there's some things that I'm going to interject, speak on, because we need to have this. The first thing you want to do, you got to learn to pray together. Pray together. Involve God in the situation. Pray together. James chapter 5 and 16 tell us that when we pray together, we stay together. It says, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another. We must pray for each other. In a relationship, a spouse should hold on together and pray together, because each and every one of you need to be prayed for. Because as Dr. Ramsay said, that sometimes it's a little strenuous, it's a little stressful. Sometimes you need that support, and so you need to pray for each other. Hold on and pray. You pray for your husband, and you pray for and you pray for the wife, and pray for the kid that you have. So it's important that we pray together. Never leave God out of it, because that's the communication to God. You tell him about your troubles, tell him about what you're going through. You got to pray together. Encourage regular prayer together as couples. Encourage regular prayer together. If you're not praying, you're going to have problems. If you are not praying, you're going to have problems, because the stress level is going to be so high that because you're not praying, you're going to be fighting each other in the situation. And so you got to pray and ask God to come in the situation and be by your side. So you need to pray together. Then you got to communicate with grace. Communicate, because sometimes we get so stressful, we start to attack each other. The parents start to attack each other and start to say negative, the blame game. And when you start to do the blame game, that means you're being lame, because it's nobody's fault for the child to be where it's at. Nobody's fault. It's God's doing. As Dr. Ramsay said, sometimes God's put them in your life for a reason. And so it's not for you to blame, but communicate with grace. Grace. Learn how to communicate with grace, speak with grace and kindness, even in the moments of disagreement, because there's going to be disagreement, how to handle the situation. But in the moment of disagreement, learn to speak with grace. I tell married folk, don't do toxic stuff. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:21, death and life is in the power of the tongue. What you say does matter. And remember, you're there to support each other. So speak with grace. Speak with grace. And I'm not going to do all the scriptures. I'm just going to give it to you. Ephesians 4:29 is a scripture that speaks on how you should communicate with grace. Then the other thing, you got to listen attentively. You know, one of our problems, we're not great listeners. We're not great listeners because here's what we do. We start thinking of the answer in our brain before we even finish hearing the question or even seeing the situation. We start to say, so this is what you got to learn to listen to the old truth, listen to the question so you can respond in the right manner. And so we don't listen. Even outside of having special need kids, we're not good listeners. That's why we are, they tell me 50% of divorces because of bad communication. We're not very effective in our communication. And so we got to learn to listen actively. Practice active listening when your spouse shares their thoughts, their feelings, and concern about their care for their special need child. Demonstrate empathy and understanding. Empathy means I feel what you're feeling. I'm in the same space you're in. We got to learn, because you can give compassion, but compassion is just saying, I'm sorry for what you're going through. But empathy means I'm in it with you. We're going through this together. And so you need empathy, listening with an attentive life, and then you got to support each other. Be a support to each other. Be supportive. You need to support each other. Support each other. You got to support each other. You got to make sure that you're supporting. Don't fight even before the child, because that's going to send a wrong message to the child. Don't be yelling and screaming before the child. You got to support each other, because when you support each other, it builds the foundation, it builds the strongness, it brings the unity, it brings the togetherness, and it helps you even to do a better job dealing with your special needs child. So learn to support each other. Learn to support each other and take time for your marriage. So what you need, in order to take time for you need a community of support. So if you can get grandma and you can get auntie and you can get people in the neighborhood or somebody in the neighborhood to say, you know what, I'm going to give you 2 days off. You can go and build your marriage and work. Because remember, this is a strain on your marriage, and you got to take time for your marriage. But you got to prioritize your marriage. So you got to take time and go away and get your community to come in and help you, because you know, I find out people who are caretakers, caregivers, sometimes are more stressed out than anybody else, because caregivers have feelings too. Caregivers go through emotional problems too. Caregivers get to in a place of depression, in a place of disappointment and discouragement. And so there are times when they must take time to recoup, to come back and to be renewed and to be restored, so they can start to do a better job. So it's important that you take time for your marriage. Don't dive in so far into it until you forget that you're married to the person, because sometimes that builds a wedge in the relationship and cause a push away instead of a leaning forward. And the best thing for the child is you leaning forward, working together for the common goal. So I'm saying you gotta spend time with your spouse and make sure that you're giving them all the right support in the relationship. Pray together, communicate with grace, listen actively, support each other, and spend time together. Because when you spend time together, you can come back refreshed, restored, and ready for the work at hand. And you can't do it when you're stressed, because stressful people are sometimes one of the hot-headed. Because when you're stressed, everything trigger you. You get angry quick. You speak angry words. You do angry stuff. So you need to take a break and release the stress so you can come back and focus on the job at hand. That's what I got to help.
That's what you got. You got answers over there. This is some good stuff, Dr. Colin. Every time you come on, it's just incredible tips that you're sharing. How do people stay connected with you?
They can go to Two Arts That Beat as One network, or they can find me on also social media, Facebook. I have Colin Clarke on senior on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. My church is Shepherd's Heart Ministry. So you can find me on social media and on the Shepherd's Heart Ministry. Well, we also have a website for that. So just Google it, and you'll find me there.
Oh my goodness, y'all!
I'm not technically savvy like Dr. Ramsay, so I gotta tell you, go look for me.
That's why you have a community to help you, because your son came right in.
There you go.
I saw him hop right on it. So listen, y'all, I see all of your comments that's been coming in. If you had any questions, we're about to end in 3 minutes here, but I just want to acknowledge our studio audience. We have Virginia Rutherford Hall. She has a show called Wings of Wisdom. She's in the airline industry for over 20-some years. Great show. She's actually a podcaster now on CTR Media Network. I see Kernifer saying, wow, wow, wow. Again, the scriptures that were mentioned. Kernifer also said amen, and so true to everything that's being shared. And lots of comments that have been coming on throughout today's broadcast. Our foundation is key, is what my mom said. And I'm trying to scroll back and see all of your comments. But thank you all so much for your participation today. And really the theme of autism acceptance. We have to be able to accept whatever it is that God's will is for all of our lives as parents. God also has a will for our children's lives too. And so he has them for a set purpose, and they're going to salt the earth, and they're going to make a difference and build their own legacy too. So be kind and understanding and empathetic to our children as they go through and maneuver some of the things that they weren't expecting to happen in their own lives. And I'm not going to talk too much right now today about my own personal experience with autism, but as the month goes on, I will be sharing that in great detail. But what I will say is, if your child, thank you so much, Kernifer. If your child says that they have an issue with something, and you know that they've been diagnosed with something, don't let anybody in the community tell you how to handle your child. That's the gift that God gave you. Right. So if your child needs to put, and I use my own daughter as an example, she needs to put earplugs in when we're in church service sometimes because of the loud music that's happening, then you put your headphones on, your earpods in. And if it's somebody that has a problem with it to the point where we have to end up leaving, just leave. We'll leave the place. If she has something on and is turned inside out because she likes certain textures up against her skin, you know what? I'm so grateful that God has blessed me to be chosen, to be able to oversee my children while they're lent to me on this earth. It does not matter to me what other people say or what they think or how they think it should be. The devil is a liar, in my opinion. So I feel like, guess what? God trusted you to me, and I'm ultimately going to be responsible for helping you become the best version of yourself that you can be. I'm not going to go south on this note, but what I will tell you is if you all have experienced any level of balance, better balance in your own home, please make sure you take a moment and pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. We come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I would like for you to know how you can contribute. You can go to Cash App, $Kimjacobsinc, or you can also do it via PayPal at paypal.me/KimJacobsInc, or through Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show. And any contribution is greatly appreciated. And we always do some shout outs too. So I just want to let you know that we appreciate
Just want to mention this for a minute. I just did a new book called Draining the Swamp of Your Mind, Your Journey to Transformational Thinking. So you can go to Amazon and take a look at it.
And it just came out. He's actually going to be a full guest for a full hour on the show coming up soon. But put the book up one more time.
It's
and it's
Draining the Swamp of Your Mind,
Draining the Swamp of Your Mind, Your Journey to Transformational
Thinking.
It's available today on Amazon. So make sure you all go and get your copy and support Dr. Colin Clarke. Any closing comment, Dr. Colin? And I'll get one from each of you all, and then we'll close out.
This is an awesome forum, and I know it is good for the community, and thank you for the topic, because a lot of people tend to ignore these kind of topics, but we need to address it even more, and we shouldn't push it aside, but we should include it in our conversation so that we can help parents who are dealing with this kind of stuff, and even the kids that are suffering from these things. So yeah, let's make it more focused.
Thank you so much, Dr. Colin. Come on, Athena Sunshine. I know you got to go back to work. That's why I'm trying to get us on off of here. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Just make sure that you just give yourself grace and mercy. And the things that were shared on the show today. It's such a blessing always to be knowledgeable. And just make sure if you have questions, just ask questions. I have some questions. Dr. Tina hit on some things today that, I feel like we can talk one-on-one about. So I'm just grateful for the things I learned today, as well as Dr. Collins. He shared some good things too. And Kim she's always giving advice on camera and off camera. And she keeps everybody intact too. So it's a blessing. So just give yourself grace and mercy. Pace yourself with building your foundation.
All right. Now, also, yes, Carnifer, Dr. Colin Clarke's book is out. Make sure you go and get it. It's on Amazon today. Okay, close us out, Dr. Tina J. Ramsay.
All right. Well, it was beautiful being on this panel on the Kim Jacobs Show with Dr. Clarke and also Athena. And so I agree with everything that everyone's saying in regards to foundation relationships, but I also forgot, I got so emotional, people. I forgot to give you some tips, okay? For those of you.
But that's why I'm going to tell you come back next Friday too, just so you know. I was going to ask you to come back because I was like, you got to share some tips.
Oh, my tips, okay, for those of you who may already have a formal diagnosis for your child, meaning they have went to the doctor, psychiatrist, and they have determined that your child has autism. You have a piece of paper stating that your child has autism, right? So once you have that piece of paper, what you can do is that you can sign up for various different services called respite care. You remember Dr. Clarke was talking about parents need a break, right? So the government actually has a program that you get on the list and they will pay for you to have so many hours of respite care a week. It's programs where you can actually get help. And how you find out, you can go look for your local board of disabilities, and they will be able to help you with that and let you know their requirements of how you can have your child added to that respite care program. And they do a variety of different things for the child, such as babysitting programs. If your child has to wear diapers or different things like that, they even provide that for your children as well. It's a whole lot of different things, even down to if they cannot eat regular food, they'll provide milk for your children so they can be able to drink to keep them nourished. It's so many different things based upon your child's specific needs. Another thing that you can do once your child get older, if you have a child that falls into the high functional realm of autism, because autism is not just one layer, it's different. It's from mild to severe. And so based upon where your child falls in, they have something called vocational rehab, which is also a program that they will help assist your child with being able to have a job. All right. So if you want your child to have a job, they'll be able to get a job, and they'll be able to have a career coach that actually shadows with them to those prospective locations to help them find jobs, and they actually earn a paycheck. Then they also have people and nurses that come in if your child wants to be independent once they reach adult age, where they can actually have a nurse or a shadow come in to monitor them, to make sure they're taking their medication, take them to their doctor appointment for ones who wish to be more independent and live on their own. And it's different things that they can qualify based upon what your city, state has available at that time. And they also have, if you do homeschool your child, but you still want to take advantage of the services such as occupational therapy and speech therapy and all the different things that's fall into the special needs realm, you can actually still receive those services if you are homeschooling your child up under the No Child Left No Child Left Behind Act, where you can actually get people coming in, a teacher coming in to teach your child, or take them to a private facility where they'll be able to still be able to receive those services. So if you are homeschooling, you don't have to miss out on those services. If you are in public school, then your child will have a IEP, an independent educational plan, or whatever like that. So it's so many different things that can be used in both ends of the spectrum that can help ease what you are going through as a parent, and asking for help and joining Facebook communities or any community that can give you that support as a parent, and also giving support as a child. And if for any additional resources, you guys just can go to my website, either or, and just put in there about, you know, help or whatever like that. but I did want to leave you some tips. I said, I didn't leave you no tips. Yeah, or you can go to our magazine. We have the Homeschooling Interactive magazine, where parents, educators, resources is all in the pages of the magazine. It's all over the world, global magazine, that you can learn all about that. And we have blogs. So you're not alone, okay? You're not alone. We even help with mental health. I don't do it. I have a nonprofit connection that they help you with mental health and be able to get free psychiatrists. If you need a psychiatrist and therapy and you can't afford it, I say your money looking a little funny. If your money looking a little funny, you can get some free resources out there I can attach you to, okay? And it's okay, all right? It will be okay. You're chosen. This
y'all make sure you go to ctrhomeschooling.com and stay connected with Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, and she'll be able to really help you get access.
Because now they know our show.
The goal is to be able to have children with autism every one of us be aware of it, accept it, and include them in the various ways that they can feel like they make a difference on this earth as well. All right, everybody, that is today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Thank you so much. And Mackenzie backstage, you can take us away. Thank you, experts. Thank you, studio audience. I love you all. Bye-bye. Mackenzie, you can take it away. Mackenzie may be dealing with her kids right now because, you know, she's a mom of young kids. So let me take it away. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for